What's going on, you guys? I'm Hunter, coming at you again here in front of the zebra wall with a question. What do you think would happen if a SIG 550 and an AR-15 had a kid? And they're both on meth. This used to be a Gwinn Bushmaster. Now, the Gwinn Bushmaster is a long-stroke gas piston with an AR-15 bolt, and it was designed in the 1970s by a guy named Matt Gwinn of Gwinn Firearms. Now, if you're thinking the Bushmaster rifle, yes, it is that Bushmaster. Before Bushmaster was Bushmaster Firearms, it was Gwinn Firearms making the Bushmaster. And I originally wanted this gun because I saw, I think it was a Military Arms Channel video on the Bushmaster arm pistol, which is a goofy ass, like sawed-off pistol bullpup version of this. You can look it up. It's goofy. I don't actually have one, but I do have the rifle version of that. And it was just so unique and so quirky, and I wanted one. So I started looking around, and I found one for sale on Arms and Arms out of Minnesota, and it was about the same price as a Palmetto State Armory AR-15. It was a price really kind of too good to pass up, so I bought it sight unseen. It didn't look that bad in the pictures, but when I got it, I realized that the condition it was in kind of reflected the price. It was not in the best shape. It had some rust issues and some pitting issues on the bolt and the front trunnion here. There's actually a trunnion pressed into the aluminum. But in my reading about these rifles, I figured out that the stock was actually wood, and the original plan was to sand down the black paint and actually make it look nice. And I discovered that the wood was about as soft and white as me. And it was pretty much incapable of being stained dark enough to look like walnut, which is one of the plans I had. I have another AR-15 that has a Thompson foregrip and all walnut furniture. It really is gorgeous. But this has a top charging handle. And I thought that would look cool with Thompson furniture and to make it like Thompson flavored, so to speak. But when I sanded down the wood, I realized that not only was the wood not the best in terms of, general quality, but there was actually dry rot, and I sanded down most of it, but you can see this, and it was covered up with what I'm guessing was Bondo and textured black paint. So I also took a closer look at some of the parts, and Ian McCollum has a video about the second model of this with the side charging handle and a sheet metal receiver. These are both cast aluminum. And let's just say quality control was just as bad the first time, because there are holes on this thing that are not drilled straight from the factory. This part actually holds the gas tube and stock forend to the rifle, and these pinholes are not drilled parallel from the factory. And I also realized, like, looking at it, there's a hole right here, and there's a hole right here, and I was like, huh, what are those holes doing there? Are those to get a machine tool in there in order to, like, machine out a part on the inside? And then I took a look on the inside of the magwell, and I realized there's another, like, jagged hole in here. Those are actually casting flaws in the aluminum that I'm guessing I don't know where they got these parts manufactured, but yeah, quality control just was not good on Gwinn Firearms. I'm guessing they just saw these and were like, just send it out anyway. It's fine. They won't even notice. Just cover it in black paint. But I cleaned up the action and actually got it working. And in discovering how hideously ugly everything was, I decided to just double down and make the ugliest gun possible. So all of the wood is a different color. This is some kind of lamp. I think it's Boyd's. But I cut it down because it was, it was quite frankly ugly. I know that's a bit weird to be saying about this, but I put a Thompson 1928 foregrip on it. And the best part, I think, about this rifle is that it was never designed with an optics mount. So I decided to make my own. And in keeping with the spirit of, like, the Fallout, Mad Max kind of vibe that this thing's got, I had some pieces of aluminum lab equipment like you do experiments in high school with, and not using a tape measure. I did not measure anything. I just eyeballed everything and used files and a hacksaw. I made several parts, one of which it's got a dovetailed Picatinny rail that's screwed into here. I just drilled and tapped into this piece of aluminum. And I realized that this would wobble back and forth, as well as the flashlight mount would wobble back and forth. So I made an H-shaped piece of aluminum right here, and I actually staked it in with punches. And I took it to the range, and oddly enough, it zeroed, and it has shot well over probably 500 rounds and not lost zero. This thing, I don't like the audacity this rifle has functioning as well as it does. I took it to a 3-gun match in this configuration, and like I did better than I did with my AK, which is like I said in the previous video, it's no fault of the rifle how terribly I did, but this thing is wild that it actually functions, let alone well. Shit. Getting into some more little details that I did on this thing. Well, you notice the pirate flag because, you know, it's I don't know why I spray painted a Jolly Roger on it. It just fit. But this is actually a threaded little knob that holds a brass catching bag on. And this originally, I didn't realize that there were pieces missing at first. But I noticed that the bolt was just slamming into the back of bare aluminum here, and that's really not good. And then I realized that there was a piece of hard plastic buffer that was just straight up missing. That's part of where these threads are coming from. But I'll get to that in just a minute. But I actually took a rubber cork and cut it with a heated razor blade into the same shape as that buffer, and screwed it in with just like a piece of like a screw that I had laying around in my basement. And there was threads sticking out of the end, so I figured, you know, why not just put a little decorative thing on there? And that's actually what holds the brass catching bag on. This originally came with a tiny little nub sticking out of the top of the bolt here. And it was a bit hard to grab onto, so I took the knurled part of a chisel and drilled and tapped it, and then threaded the little nub and threaded this on and actually cranked it on with a pair of pliers. It has an M9 bayonet lug because fuck you. And just to keep in the theme with the absolute ridiculousness of this whole thing, I have a Chinese Triangle 36 120 round drum for this thing. Yeah. So there you have it, guys. A rifle out of Fallout, Mad Max, Elbonia, take your pick. This would be perfect with the Elbonian Navy. Maybe the Elbonian Navy SEALs. I don't know. Now, before we get to in the comments section about how I quote-unquote ruined a piece of history or whatever, this thing was a piece of shit from the factory, and it was even more of a piece of shit when I got it, so please spare me. I actually got it functioning better than I'm guessing it ever has. So please just spare me that. I had a lot of fun just using my imagination and figuring out how I can make an ugly rifle even more ugly every step of the way. And I think I did a pretty good job. And quite honestly, this thing is pretty awesome, you ask me. So if you like the kind of stuff that I'm putting out here, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. I do have a lot of exciting stuff going on. I'm actually a proud owner of Raw Wolf Machine Works, LLC, a full-service gunsmith, working on getting my licenses right now, paperwork in the ATF. That's what we're waiting on. But I do have a very, very fun project in the works. The materials are ordered. The 3D model and the technical drawing are all done. So if you like this kind of wacky, outrageous stuff, go ahead and stay tuned for the next one. See you later.